Hello and welcome to the program. My name is Maria and this is Health and Lifestyle, where we talk all matters health. Now, every 11th of April, the world comes together to observe World Parkinson's Disease Day to raise awareness and advocate for change in the fight against Parkinson's disease. Now, this global observance marks the birthday of Dr. James Parkinson, the British physician who first identified the condition in 1817, and serves as a reminder to millions of lives impacted by this neurodegenerative disorder. But first things first.
There's a day a motorbike person, you know the way they deliver things. So he was telling you, Mama, kama huwezi tembea toka kwa barabara.
Living with Parkinson's disease, a mother's journey.
It's a combination of genetic and environmental factors, so things in the environment that might increase our risk of developing Parkinson's disease, so maybe exposures to pesticides or industrial solvent.
Who can develop Parkinson's disease?
I mean, as a caregiver, as a young caregiver, I just started taking care of him immediately after campus. So that means most of my 20s have been spent taking care of him. So I would say emotional strain.
And on Word on the Streets, caregivers share challenges of caring for persons with Parkinson's disease. At 41, Anne Kagweria, a mother of two, received a diagnosis that changed her life forever: Parkinson's disease, a neurological disorder. It all began with symptoms like body tremors and stiffness, making it difficult for her to perform daily tasks and maintain her professional responsibilities. This year's celebrations on World Parkinson's Disease Day, Anne shares her story. It's a rare day for Anne Kagweria. Moments like these are few and far between. Accompanied by her two children, she's part of celebrations to mark World Parkinson's Disease Day, celebrated every 11th of April.
I used to go for hiking, and sometimes I would go climb some hills here and there. So I really miss the outdoor activities, because now it's like I'm confined in the house.
9 years ago, Anne began noticing subtle changes in her body, but she brushed them off. Her world was shifting, and she didn't know why.
It started with the twitching on my left hand, small finger. And at first I ignored it, thinking it's just something that would pass. But after a while I realized my hand also started having tremors, and my left leg. That's when I got concerned and decided to see a doctor. Like, I started having problems walking. I was pulling my left leg a lot, and the tremors started increasing also on the left side at first.
After numerous visits to different doctors, Anne finally got her answer.
Well, the doctor had to send me for an MRI, which would assist him in knowing where the problem was. And some other tests here and there. I can't say exactly what the other blood tests were for. Yeah, that's when, and looking also at the symptoms, that's when I was diagnosed.
Parkinson's disease is a progressive neurological condition that mostly affects people over 60. She was just 41 years.
So it was a shock at first, but then I started digesting the whole thing slowly by slowly. Actually, I never even confided to anyone that I was diagnosed with Parkinson's. I was just telling people everywhere, ni kitu tu ya nerves, it will go. I was still in denial at first.
The disease didn't just affect her movement, it took away her job.
I was a secretary, so you need the fingers to do all that typing, and I couldn't do it anymore. Carrying a cup of tea is a problem sometimes. Yeah, and also the usual day-to-day activities like bathing, washing clothes, wearing clothes, even shoes, it became a challenge. So I had to learn to be very patient and be able to do my tasks slowly at my pace.
And without insurance, the cost of treatment placed a heavy strain on her family's finances.
Yeah, the medicines are quite expensive. It's not easy, especially when you're not working and depending on someone else to provide. Yeah, the medicines are quite expensive because like I have to take every day about five tablets. So I can say it has affected my family finances a lot. People concerned with SHA, they should look into ways of helping us with the medication and maybe doctor's fees and the tests, which we keep on doing as we check how we are progressing.
It was not just financial challenges she was battling. Stigma weighed on her emotionally and psychologically.
There's a day a motorbike person, you know the way they deliver things. I think he was going to do a delivery. So he just came and he was getting irritated behind me. So he was telling you, Mama, kama huwezi tembea toka kwa barabara. So I just stood there and just stared at him and let him go.
Today, she chooses to focus on the present, one moment at a time, and a message she hopes will reach far and beyond.
I'd like to say that you don't know what anyone is going through. Many people are going through a lot of things. So if you find someone has a problem, if you don't have any kind words for them, just let them be. Don't say anything that will hurt their feelings. Because like these Parkinson's, if someone says negative things to you, you tend to go down.
Indeed, stigma remains the biggest challenge for persons suffering from Parkinson's disease. And so on one of the streets, caregivers share challenges of caring for persons with Parkinson's disease. Let's take a listen.
I'm here in supporting the Parkinson's group because my wife had a Parkinson plus dementia for about 4 or 5 years, and I was to look after her with the carers as well. And the most important care for the person is that family members should be around so they know that they are part of a family. And the other thing is that various things do happen to them, so you have to go according to that. Even making food for them, they just would not be able to swallow the whole food, so you have to mash it up and give it to them. The challenges are many, but to start with, you have to sort of listen to them, because sometimes they can't even tell you exactly what's happening, but then you have to listen to them and think about it, and slowly you understand what they are trying to say. So you keep a track of it, spend a lot of time with them, and also whatever hobbies they are interested in, try to introduce that hobbies for them, so then they should be quite okay and comfortable.
Mostly just sparing time for them, mostly. Either sparing time, what else? Probably sparing medication if there is any, and yeah, the dedication, you really need a lot of dedication to take care of them.
My name is Stephanie Muraya, and my father, George Muraya, has Parkinson's condition for the last 13 years, and I have been his primary caregiver. I mean, as a caregiver, as a young caregiver, I just started taking care of him immediately after campus. So that means most of my 20s have been spent taking care of him. So I would say emotional strain, also physical strain, because it affects his mobility, and we have to make sure that he moves every day. Emotional strain in the sense of I've also been alienated from my friends. There's some sort of, I don't have a social circle, but I thank God for my few close friends and family members who have been there throughout. Another thing that we face is financial challenges because of the medicine. The medicine is very expensive, and not just the medicine alone. Because of Parkinson's, there are a lot of things that is required to maintain it. There's physical therapy, there's occupational therapy, there's speech therapy. All this encompasses, and now my dad doesn't have a job, and also now that I have a stable job as well, so it's also a challenge.
On that note, we take a break, but we'll be back with much more, including an expert who will be talking to us more about Parkinson's disease. And of course, we have the good practice segment later on in the program. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We now want to delve deeper into what Parkinson's disease is all about. And Dr. Natasha Fothergill-Mesbah is a researcher whose work has advanced understanding of Parkinson's disease in Africa. Her research delved into the lived experiences of people with Parkinson's disease and their families. Take a listen to what she had to say. So thank you so much, Dr. Natasha, for joining us. But first things first, people will want to know the basics, and that is, what is Parkinson's disease?
Parkinson's disease is a disease that is caused by a deficiency in dopamine in the brain. So it's known as a movement disorder. So primarily the symptoms are motor symptoms. So you might see people with a tremor, slowed down, stooped posture, move slowly, they're very rigid. But actually it's associated with a lot of non-motor symptoms. So what we call non-motor symptoms are things like constipation, mental health problems, trouble sleeping, anxiety, difficulty passing urine, so a lot of complications as well caused by the disease.
So is it also genetical? Because talk about age, but is it also genetical?
In some cases it is a genetic disorder, but in majority of cases it's idiopathic in the sense that we don't know what the cause is. And so maybe 20% of cases are genetic, and that is people have a mutation in a specific gene that causes the Parkinson's, but actually it's a combination of genetic and environmental factors. So things in the environment that might increase our risk of developing Parkinson's disease, so maybe exposures to pesticides or industrial solvents, that sort of thing might increase our risk of developing Parkinson's. But one of the issues at the moment is that we don't really know what causes Parkinson's disease, and therefore we can't find a cure for it. And until then there is no cure for Parkinson's.
Okay, so is there a certain age where Parkinson's disease can, occur, or is it, because from my research, I understand it's an older person's disease, but can it affect anyone?
Yeah, so age is a risk factor for Parkinson's disease. So generally people develop Parkinson's later in life, so 60 and above. But actually a lot of people get it quite young as well. And so that's either juvenile, early onset, young onset Parkinson's disease, and that is any time before 60. And people can get it, in their 20s, 30s as well. So primarily it's a disease of older people, but actually it can affect anybody in adulthood as well.
You've talked about dopamine, levels of dopamine going down as one of the, reasons that's why people develop Parkinson's disease. And from my small interaction with doctors and research here and there, I also know that dopamine plays a lot in terms of, our well-being, or what they call the feel-good, hormone. And I also know people who suffer from mental disorders tend to have, a lower level of dopamine. So is it possible that people who suffer mental health issues can also develop Parkinson's disease?
I think because of the reduction in dopamine, a lot of people with Parkinson's have mental health issues as well, and partly because of that reduction. So it's not really a predisposition, but it's also a symptom of Parkinson's disease that people will have difficulties with their mental health, anxiety, apathy, low mood, things like that, yeah.
To you, and you've talked about environmental factors, you've talked about age, you've also talked about genetics, but is Parkinson's disease curable?
So the thing with Parkinson's disease is it is a degenerative condition, which means that it progresses over time. And so the treatment that we have, it can manage the symptoms, but it can't cure it and it can't reverse the disease. So the issue with Parkinson's is that actually by the time somebody is diagnosed, a lot of the damage is already done. So we're replacing the dopamine with medication, but actually it will continue to reduce and reduce and reduce. And so it is not curable, unfortunately, yet, although people are working towards a cure. But the symptoms are very manageable with treatment. But treatment is one of those things that is an issue in Kenya and across Africa as well. And so a lot of people don't get that treatment that they need.
So what does the treatment involve when it comes to Parkinson's?
Yeah, so treatment for Parkinson's disease, the main treatment is levodopa carbidopa, and so that increases the levels of dopamine in the brain. That is the main treatment for Parkinson's that has been around for 50 plus years. And it is still the main used treatment for Parkinson's across the world, although people are developing various different types of medication as well, and even surgeries. But levodopa-carbidopa is the main treatment. It is very expensive in parts of Africa and also not available. So actually, if you have the money and you want to go and buy it, you might not find it in the pharmacies. And so people spend a lot of time going around pharmacies trying to find this medication that they desperately need. And so a lot of work needs to go into how do we make medications accessible to people with Parkinson's.
So some of the symptoms that you already have mentioned includes the tremor and all that, difficulty in movements also as being some of the symptoms. But these are always, caught very late in the disease. Are there symptoms that people can look out for that can be an early symptom?
So early symptoms of Parkinson's can involve a tremor, so people might notice it on one side. So it starts unilaterally, i.e. it will just be on one side. And they might notice a small tremor, they might feel really rigid and stiff, they might have slowed down, they might stoop a little bit. They'll also have things like, they might say, I lost my sense of smell many years ago. And that is an early symptom of Parkinson's disease. They might have quite bad constipation, need to pass urine quite frequently, might have, when they sleep, they might have vivid dreams and act out their dreams, and their partner might say, I've had to move to a different bed because it really affects me. And so these are all things that might indicate that somebody has Parkinson's, but often they're confused with normal aging. Somebody gets a bit slow, they stoop, but it isn't normal aging, and it can be managed. So memory is a part of Parkinson's disease. It can come after the onset of those motor symptoms. So in that case, we call it Parkinson's disease dementia. So people can develop Parkinson's dementia. If it starts with the memory problems and progresses to the movement symptoms, that's called Lewy body dementia. So it's very, very confusing, and these things overlap and kind of difficult to diagnose as well, especially if somebody doesn't have the training on these conditions.
So are there lifestyle changes that people can make, to be able to protect themselves from Parkinson's?
In terms of lifestyle and what somebody can do to either prevent or stop the progression of Parkinson's, obviously medication is really important, but exercise is really, really important. Parkinson's is a movement disorder, and so everything affects the way that you move, and so exercise is a really important therapy for Parkinson's disease, as well as diet. A balanced diet is the classical things that you would imagine to live a good life, is the sort of things that would manage Parkinson's. If we think about going back a few years, what could stop the onset of Parkinson's? Obviously those exposures to the environmental factors, so wearing protective equipment when using pesticides, not working with these industrial solvents, or wearing appropriate protection for those as well. So, but I guess some of the damage is already done by the time somebody finds out that they have Parkinson's disease.
So you're very involved in the research of Parkinson's disease in Africa, but you're in Kenya now and you're doing a research on Parkinson's. What are you seeing as far as Parkinson's is concerned?
So I started doing some research on Parkinson's in 2018 in Kenya. So I carried out my PhD in Kenya actually. So that was some of the first research that was looking into Parkinson's in Kenya. Looked at sort of what is it like to live with Parkinson's in Kenya, the challenges that people have accessing a diagnosis, accessing treatment and services, the stigmas that are associated with Parkinson's in the community. A lot of challenges around associations with witchcraft, superstitions, that sort of thing. If you see someone shaking and that sort of thing, there's an immediate drive to think that maybe it's caused by superstitious beliefs. Somebody's been bewitched, and so there's a lot of need to try and reframe that perception and make sure that people are not isolated, not excluded from their communities because they have this condition. And actually there is treatment and they can get help and support, and obviously support groups are really important as well. So they provide somewhere where people can come together, see other people with Parkinson's, realize they're not alone, get that education, information that they need to live a good life. So there's a lot of support out there. It's just where people can access it. And a diagnosis is the first challenge. And that is very difficult because of the low number of neurologists that we have in Kenya, all concentrated in the cities in Nairobi, Kisumu, Mombasa, and so people living in rural Kenya really struggle to get a diagnosis. A lot of misdiagnosis, you know, or maybe it's a stroke, maybe it's pressure, sukari, but Parkinson's is not an easy diagnosis to make. Parkinson's is a problem across the world. It was perceived as being a problem of kind of the Western world. Increasingly, we're seeing that it is a problem across Africa. In terms of data, we have some data from Tanzania, but a few years ago that demonstrated a prevalence of somewhere around 40 per 100,000 people affected. But obviously, as the population ages, I mentioned that age is a risk factor for Parkinson's disease. We'll probably see more people developing it as well. Currently in Kenya, in Kilifi, there is a prevalence study being undertaken, so we'll have accurate data about the prevalence of Parkinson's in Kenya, but other research as well, so looking into the genetics of Parkinson's. I mentioned that there are genetic causes of Parkinson's, but those are all very white population. So actually, what is the genetic mutations in African population? So that's something that we're looking at the moment, looking at exposures to pesticides, changes in the gut, because it's thought that the gut might be an important a cause of Parkinson's disease as well. So a lot of research ongoing now, not just in Kenya, but across Africa, in Nigeria, Ghana, Egypt, Ethiopia, South Africa, Tanzania. So really exciting time for Parkinson's in Africa, actually.
So thank you so much, Dr. Natasha, for the information that you've shared with us about Parkinson's disease. And we are hoping that you can do more, especially when it comes to the research in the labs and what you're doing in Kenya in as far as the treatment is concerned and all that. So thank you so much for your time, and we hope to have you in the program again. Indeed, Parkinson's disease has no cure, but it can be managed. And so on the good practice today, we just take a look at some of the measures that you can adopt in as far as lifestyle is concerned to manage Parkinson's disease. Doing your best to remain healthy and strong is key for everyone with Parkinson's disease. Research has shown that following certain lifestyle modifications can help you accomplish two important goals: better control of symptoms and slow progression of the condition. Diet modifications keep you healthier longer, helps you avoid secondary symptoms of Parkinson's like constipation. Many patients with Parkinson's disease experience constipation due to a slowdown of the digestive system. Combat constipation with a diet rich in fiber from sources such as fresh fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Medications that treat Parkinson's disease can dry you out. Be sure to drink plenty of water and other fluids throughout the day. Exercise can make the greatest impact on the cause of your disease. Improve mobility and balance to enhance your overall quality of life. Regular walking workouts help increase normal walking speed and lengthen stride length, which tends to shorten with Parkinson's disease. Keeping up with routine daily activities like washing dishes, folding laundry, shopping, or anything that gets and keeps you on your feet can help delay the degeneration of motor symptoms. Exercise may help the brain maintain neuroplasticity, which is the ability to maintain old connections and form new ones between the neurons in your brain. We've come to the end of the program. Thank you once again for staying with us. My name is Marie Yambo, and on behalf of everyone who made this program possible, the production team, and of course, Dr. Fothajil Misbah, and also Anne Kwagwiria for sharing her journey with Parkinson's disease. And I'm sure by now you do understand at least a little bit of what Parkinson's disease is all about. Remember, if you've missed any part of this program, you can always watch it on our YouTube channel. My name is Marie Yambo, and I hope to see you again next time.